So now I've got to do this. So it comes up. It's meant to come up, isn't it?
Yeah, but I find you have to I think you have to do this as a second process. So I literally go,
There it is.
oh, there it is. Yeah,
and then
it takes a while to come in.
I'll go to comments, and then I will. So it comes up. It's meant to come up, isn't it?
And there you are. Yeah, but I find you have to.
So that's to go down.
No, everyone can hear me now.
No, that's all right. So yeah, Georgina's there. Yay,
Hi.
Georgina! Whoop whoop whoop. Sue Skinner and Bev, Sarah. Right, that's coming up on us. Right, they're coming up on both places. Why has that come up on there this time? I must be doing something different. No, I bet you I'm doing something different.
Yeah, you must be, but I don't know what, because you did that smoothly. You did really well.
I'm doing something.
That's a bit patronising.
No.
Really well.
Yay! That's all right then. Thank you.
Okay.
You can stay there if you like, but if you want to go, you can.
Well, I can stay for a few minutes, shall I, just to check everything's coming through okay?
Yeah.
I mean, usually it's easier for me to see from my phone.
Hi, Josette. Josette's there. So we've got Carolyn Felton. Oh my God, Carolyn, I didn't get back to you. So, I will get back to you after this. Right, so where do we go? So we've got Georgina, Jan, Maureen, Carolyn, Jenny. Jenny, did I see somewhere it's your birthday today? Happy birthday if it is. If it isn't, just it's that mad bird on the screen. And Jean. Now, see, now that keeps moving and this doesn't. Oh, wow.
What keeps moving? Oh,
well, there's more.
Yeah, there's more stuff coming through. But the other one doesn't. The laptop's stalled.
So how do I do that? Oh, there it is. There it goes. Morning, Debbie, Josette, Audrey, and Judith.
It's just not automatically going up, is it?
Mandy, no, that's annoying. Kitty,
it might
Susan.
be. You might say it's annoying, but actually, it's probably useful because it means then this one you're keeping in touch with the current conversation. This one is the last one you read. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, you're right. So Zebra's there. Hi, Zebra. Hooves are waving. And Margaret, hi, everyone. This has got to be one of the week's highlights amid all the gloom. Oh, thank you. Hello, Terry and Annika.
Hello, everyone.
You know, they know you're there.
Yeah.
All right, I better stick with this one because I'll miss people. And Debbie. I said Angela, didn't I? Because she said that. Annie and Taranjet. And that other Angie and Kathy. Angie's laughing. Pattern. Janet, Helen, Kathy, Jenny. Jenny says it is her birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Whoop. I hope you're doing something exciting. Maggie's there. Anne. Morning, Anne. Happy sewing day. Diane, Gillian, Gabby. How are you, Gabby? Because you weren't well. And Michelle, Anita, Josette saying hi to you.
Hello.
Josette's the girl from New, what do you call it? Oh God, don't say I'm having one of those mornings. New Mexico.
Oh, cool.
Liz, Emmy Lou. Oh, Emmy Lou says Saturday couldn't come quick enough. And Gillian, Wanda, and Joe. Jenny says she's watching this. Bless you. Bless you.
Bless you.
Gabby's hopefully on the mend. Oh. Are you supposed to be spreading that knowledge, Carolyn?
What's that?
She said Jenny officially becomes an OAP. What year is that? Because I think I'm an OAP. I can certainly get my rail card. But what is the official OAP? Do you know?
I have no idea.
You wouldn't know yet.
I did a while ago because my mum went through it.
Oh, well, so how old is she?
She's now 60.
Just over, or?
She's no, she's close to 70. She's
Oh.
67.
Okay, so, because I'm not sure if it's 65 or 60. Right, Sue
It must be
Mantelow.
65, I reckon.
Yeah. Sue's going to add this top to her list. Oh, that's interesting. The zip was her least favourite element. Jane, hi, and Sue and Anne. Oh, so Carolyn is her younger sister.
Oh.
Right, Gillian, Donna's saying 60, so I'm an OAP.
60.
Oh my gosh, that's not allowed, am I really? I need some pegs or something. That just makes it worse. I keep saying I need some darts. Right, Jenny's 66. Is that right? Good morning, Audrey. 66 gets the pension.
Okay.
Right, so I've only got 3 years to go. 2 years after May. Does that mean, is that an excuse to get some extra cash for some more fabric? Zena, hi. Bridget, hi. Roberta, hi. Loads on today, so where's my number? Oh, 93. It's good having the both. I can see what's going on. I better start, hadn't I?
Yeah.
Katrina.
I'm looking forward to seeing this, actually.
Are you going to be watching then?
Yeah, I'll sit and watch. I want to see the pocket thing as well. It's interesting because it's different material again.
Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah.
On the mannequin?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. So where to get some Nita? Hi, Nita. Nita's.
I can position things differently if you need help, but I don't really do.
Thank you. Nita's a new person. Nita Dina. So anybody new, please let yourselves be known, but also everybody else that's been on loads, say hello. And Nita, you're in good company and everybody's going to be really helpful. So if I say something that doesn't make sense, which is quite often, or put a pattern up and then forget to tell you the number, everybody else will. So just shout out any questions because everybody loves to help. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm trying to scroll on my book. I am losing it. What am I doing? Right, Wendy, hi. Nora, I'm going like this on the book. I'm wondering why nothing's happening. Hi, Chilly. It's Chilly's year 2. Nita's 58. I think many of us are up there. So Wendy's confused herself by watching too many pattern matching videos on YouTube. The way, I don't know if you did get to see my one, but we've got, it's not the right time to tell you about it, but we are going to do snippets on every technique. So I really, if I don't mind saying so myself, the way that I do the pattern matching is so easy because it's logical. I think it's all right doing techniques, and if you find a technique that works for you, then why change it? That's absolutely fine. But if you're learning a technique, the best way is something that's really logical, because you're bound to come across a situation where it's not as you expect it to be. But if you've got the logic there, you can easily work it out. And Jenny says, yeah, it's a good excuse to get some extra stash. Cash for stash.
And yes,
Cash for stash, there's a program right there.
Cash for stash.
Yeah. Terry, you're the same age as me. You don't look a day over 21. That would have been really nice if you hadn't put lots of laughter pictures afterwards. Just kidding. Flora. Hi, Flora. And Karen Scott. I love this because we're from all over the place. They keep moving the goalposts depending on our districts. I don't. And where you were born. I can't remember where I was born. Josette, Terry, can Tiffany watch later? Of course she can, but you... Oh, Josette, if she's on that So Terry Fox, so it'll be the last post, or if I post afterwards, she'll just have to scroll down to see it. So yeah, she can see it.
What was that question?
Can Tiffany, that's her daughter, but she's in Hawaii, watch this?
Oh yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like 1 o'clock in the morning or something.
You can also, if you want, comment her. Well, you put her name in here, have you? If you comment her name and link her to it, then when she wakes up, it'll come up in her notification that you.
But Josette has to link her to it.
Well, yeah, she just writes her name in this comments right now. And
but do you have to put hashtag or something?
No, so when her daughter's name comes up with her little profile picture as you're writing her name in the comments, tap on that and then just send, and then that way it links her. I was showing you this yesterday.
No, you show. I know. I'm just thinking of Josette knowing.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
Because she's only put Tiffany, so she hasn't.
Oh,
she
Josette, can you write her full name in the comments, and then as you write her name, it should come up. Facebook should come up with like a little picture of her, and then tap on that picture, and then that will highlight her name, and then press send, and then that way that will link her name to this video. But she can watch it anyway, but that just means it will come up in her notifications. I hope that makes sense.
So, Josette, just type in Tiffany's full name, and usually it jumps to who she contacts, doesn't it?
Yeah,
basically.
Well, yeah.
So just press on that, and she'll know. She'll get it anyway.
Yeah.
So hi, Susan. Hi, Dapper. Erika. Erica. I still did it, and it's not even the word in front of me. What's wrong? I always say Erika, not Erica.
Do you?
Yeah. And I know exactly Erica's name. It's because her second name looks Italian. So I feel like I've got to say
Oh, is it Erika? And it's Italian, is it?
well, I don't know if it's Italian, but it's got that kind of look to it. So I say the first word in the same way.
Fair enough.
Anyway. Not deliberately, it's just instinctively. Hi, Marie and Zena. Karen. Karen is from Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, Marika, we do have snow here. Not much. We've got a covering, haven't we?
Hi, Marilyn.
We've got snow.
Marilyn is the person that you asked me the name of.
Oh, hi.
So who we got back to on Instagram. So hopefully you found the website, Marilyn. And Julie, hi. Debbie, Marika. We got snow. First live view, kids given chocolate. So that's Elaine Regan. It's all right. It's not a confession, Elaine. You don't have to confess to your age. I think people who've come in think like you got to stand up and say I'm a fabric alcohol addict and this is my age.
You're saying about chocolate. I need to quickly give him the charger because he's using my phone about the charger and I need it fully charged.
Okay, yeah, I'm all right. I'm talking to people. But Elaine, it's Elaine's first view as well. Everybody, Elaine Regan. So if you could all say hi to Elaine and help if we need it. And no, Sheena, first time watching Sheena. So got a few new ones on today. Hi Sheena. Everyone say hello to Sheena. And again, Sheena, shout out if you've got any questions. And Karen, I think I said Karen and Tozin. Hello Tozin. Oh, I've got one of your fabrics here that I'm going to show. And Marilyn is 68 and a beginner. Wow.
Cool. Marilyn's 68 and a beginner. She's a beginner along with me.
Yeah. Annika's a beginner. So we're putting on a new Zoom class for beginners. And Debbie's a bit of a newbie. Might have to dip in and out. That's no problem. And it stays up for a while, Debbie. So we think it's 30 days. I mean, usually it just stays up, but you'd have to scroll down for it in the feed. Why? They're all going backwards. Oh, well, they're going forwards.
They're going forwards. It's started.
It's just
Why has it started going on its own again?
129. There's just like 20 people just come on all at once.
Right.
I think so. Is that why it is?
I have no. It doesn't make any sense. I'm saying, oh right, but I actually don't think it makes sense. I'm just agreeing with you.
It's just jumping now. So I've missed loads of people. Sorry, but I'll have to get a move on because I'll just be saying hello all morning. And Zebra says cash for stash soon, please. Brilliant. Yeah, Erika's there. So Erika's saying Erica. So maybe I got the wrong name on the other one. Hazel.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Erica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I was thinking that Dapper, Happer Dapper, or whatever it is. Sorry. Eileen, Karen, Susan. Right. Monica. Right, I'm going to sorry people, I'm going to miss some of you out because I need to get started. Sava, hi. How are you? Jacqueline, Cashman, hello, lovely.
Oh, Jill Chatterton. Jill Chatterton is another new one as well.
Oh, say hello to Jill.
Hello.
And Jacqueline is saying Terry's friend. It's Annika in the background. Jacqueline, who does helps me with the tech stuff, and we're getting all the update on the website done, and we're getting the club done. So Annika's here so we're just getting stuck in right. That's what we've done for 7 days solid. Yvonne's from Florida. Leslie, Diane, I said Diane, Debbie.
Yeah, just doing everything.
Marilyn says, love being a Foxy follower. We need to say about what's our thing, but we'll put a post on there.
Oh yeah. Foxy Meme Makes, wasn't it? Foxy Meme Makes.
Right. If anybody,
I'll put a post on it as well. But yeah, you should mention it.
Okay, we're going to put this as a post up, but to quickly say, so Annika's worked this new thing out that lots of you are putting posts up of your makes, which is brilliant. But if you do a hashtag,
I'm putting it on here now for everyone to see. Foxy Meme Makes.
Foxy Meme Makes.
It was makes and not make.
Oh, make.
It was make, wasn't it?
Yeah, Foxy Make.
Foxy
Meme Make.
I put
then it's going to go to a place, and everybody's pictures are all going to line up. So we'll have a little place to go, so we can see.
Jacqueline.
We can see a gallery of all your outfits. But we're going to post that as a step, so you know what to do. Okay. Right, I'm going to... Oh, it's got stuck again. And Sally... Look, oh no, I'm not doing it in the right file. Cynthia, hi, are you? Everybody's saying hello to our new people. Zena says, I'm a fabric addict and I'm 60. We're gonna have to get strobe lights out and make people say that.
Hi, Pamela.
It's not going to take much to make people say that.
Pamela Norman's new, isn't she?
I've not got that up yet. Beverly, Vaughan, hello, lovely. Pattern matching was on 20th of July on this page. Not one of the specials. It's about 23 minutes in. Thank you, Beverly. Right, can you make a note of that, and we can post that as well.
What do you want me to make a note of? Right,
Beverly has said, because everybody keeps asking me about the pattern match, and I did it on one of the Fabulosity Fridays.
Oh, you can't do it on here. So what is Terry pattern matching on 20th of July on this page? Not one of the specials. It's about 23 minutes in, and brilliant. Okay.
But I'm going to say, when we do it as in the future, we're going to do it with proper 2 cameras, so you can see overhead of where I'm matching and stuff, because I was carrying you about, wasn't I? So although the information's the same, I'm going to be doing it in much more detail and clearer. So all good things coming.
I've got a pen and paper.
So I did get it right. Erica logged off and then came back again. Thank you, Erica, for letting me know. And saying hi to all the new ladies. And she's been sewing, coming up for 50 years. Between us all, aren't we one awesome group of sewers? and creatives. Sue, Jacqueline, I said Jacqueline. Terry just joining you for the first time. So Sue Strike is new as well. Everyone say hi to Sue, please. Hoping to get lots of lovely tips. I hope so. So just shout out, Sue. Always put a question up if you need to. Francis is there. Jill Lockhart. I'm going to have to... Sorry, people. I don't mean to... Oh, I'm there at the bottom. Right, let's get started. Steph's back. When is your membership series due to start? We're setting it up. Honestly, Steph, it takes so much work behind the scenes to set it up on the right platform. Due to the help of Zebra, that is also a follower, a member on here, that's fantastic, very knowledgeable, has pointed us in a different direction. So luckily, and that's what I was hoping for, that we clear lots of stuff out before we even get started. If we start down the wrong platform and it's not right, well, now we've already know that, so which kind of means we've had to start again. But what you're going to get is going to be a million times better. Right, so I'm going to put you back a bit because you've just seen my pink lips move. It's like a goldfish bowl. Right, do you want to stay or do you want to...
I can stay if you want.
I don't mind, either way.
I don't mind, I can stay for a bit.
Only because I thought you were interested, but you don't, honestly, you don't have to...
Interested.
Yeah, well, you can watch it. You don't have to stay for me. Right, so let's get things organised, because, see, that's the problem as well with this.
Too far away.
Goes too far away. But the closer it gets, you can't see the top. You still can't see the top there.
What about if you put it up a little bit higher on this?
Then you can't see the table.
Oh.
That doesn't work. Why this seems worse than before? Can we make that? Is that?
You usually did it further away, didn't you?
No, hang on. Is it? How do I get this down?
2 fingers. Remember?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's better. Right. So I want people to see
Cool.
the 2 things. So that's the one, and then that one I'm going to demonstrate with an icon of one way. I want to be in the middle.
Right. Yeah, and that black fabric's in the way of that.
No, I'm going to show this
Okay,
now.
cool.
So, okay. I'm only saying if you want to stay, you can. There's a chair over there.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I need to burn some calories.
All right, everyone. Okay, so you saw Thursday night sneaky peeky nights, and so we're talking about one specific pattern. Okay, and I've shown you before because I made the shirt that I'm wearing. I'll give you a little twizzle in a minute, but it's this pattern. So it's Vogue pattern. Vogue V1456. I love it, and it's got so much potential. It's kind of, if you see this, so I've made it, the first one I made is what I would call a classic white shirt, but it's got a bit of a twist to it, hasn't it? So there's the pockets, and the reason I'm covering it today is because some of you have got this already, and you did say you found this a bit tricky, and it is a bit tricky. It's not actually tricky, it's just the instructions, and it's one of those that they couldn't have done the instructions any other way. Some things just naturally sound complicated because it got so many maneuvers to it. So all I did was hack this. I'm not going to go into anything about the collar, that's a whole nother story, because I covered it on the Vivienne Westwood, and people specifically came on there to see Westwood type things, so I won't cover that twice. But I do want to mention the placket, because I feel that turns this into a whole different garment, and it gives it a lot more potential for varying or various fabrics. But I do love the zip. I love the zip in it, and I'm about to make one with a zip in it, which is in this linen fabric, and I'm gonna go through that pocket thing, showing you the one I'm going to make next. But I'm seeing that this is a really heavy fabric, and it will have a metal open-ended zip in it, and I'm kind of seeing it more jacket style with that zip. But the minute it's got a placket on it, it's more shirt style or blouse style. So even though I kept the collar on this satin, I just felt I liked it with the buttons. Now that's a really quite easy thing to do, to add a placket, so I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But for now, the first thing I want to suggest is other fabrics. So you can see it in the crisp white cotton. You can see it take on a completely different look with these kimono style satins. Same pocket. And it's got two versions, so it's got drapes in the pocket, or it's got it without the drapes, but it's still got the same pocket positioning. And because the linen is a much stiffer fabric, I'm going without the drapes on that one, but it all adds up to the same thing. Remember, patterns are like jigsaw puzzles, so although they may look a lot more complicated, when they're pinned in the right places, they're getting to the same results. They've always still got two sleeves, a back and a front, and any extra detail that's put on there. So if you look at it like that, you know it's going, you can simplify it, and you know where you're going to go with it. Okay. But what I thought, I'm just going to show you some other fabric suggestions. This is a jersey. It's a black stretch. It could be a sweatshirt fabric, a fleece type, but it's kind of the stuff that you would make for a jumper. I know you can't see it clearly because it's black, but like a lot of people, half my wardrobe is black. But wouldn't that look great as a cardigan? So just leave, you could put buttons on it, you could put a zip on it, or you could just do it edge to edge and wear it open. Black jeans and t-shirts. I'd love that. This shape to wear with flat open sandals for the summer, just to throw on cardigan type. So it's perfect for that fabric. Over there. Then I got some of this leather looking fabric from Colville. It's fake. But if you wanted to make a serious over styled, or yeah, or you know, to wear over another garment with some jeans and some black leather boots, kind of a different look again. Still going to drape, but it's still kind of tailored in the top half. So I think that would work. Am I missing any questions?
I should be looking.
It is a Sandra Betsina pattern designed by. Hi, Anne. Oh, somebody's just mentioned the Mars bar. Hi, Elaine.
That Mars bar comment was because somebody else said about that they started at 8 years old, replying to Donna, who said she started sewing at 8 years old, and then Steph says that she did sewing around that age too, and she used to sew things to make money to get her Mars bars.
Ah, right. I can't even remember a Mars bar when I was younger. Yeah, I don't know what we had. But anyway, so how about a brocade? That'd be really nice and fancy. But could turn it into, that could be zip up or button up, but over leggings, velvet leggings. You've got a going out outfit there, but in a lovely brocade, and of course there's all sorts of brocades. I've got that heavy muslin fabric, you know, that cotton muslin type, so it's more see-through, but that'd make a great shirt with some black linen, 3/4 length trousers maybe for the summer, black vest underneath, and black sandals. So even though that's kind of not what you would think, I think that'd look, it's very light and airy, but I kind of like the feel, although my one, the next one that I'm going to be making, has got the zip in, so that's going to hold itself with that linen. I like the fineness with a heavy zip. I like that feel of kind of kimono zipper style. but that's just, you know, it's a personal preference. So that would work. This is a Colville, so this is going back to the linen style, but it's much more shirt weight. So that's kind of washed and ready to be made up, but it's a Colville linen, so that would make a great shirt. I'd like that again though with the buttons, I think. So some nice, maybe vintage buttons, a collection of you know, different ones, not all even. Okay, then I bought, when I went to India years ago, well, not yet, it was about, well, exactly 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I went, and for my 60th, I came back with loads of Indian silks. Now, wouldn't that be fab in it? It's the sort of thing that you never quite use, or sari fabrics, just because they're so beautiful and patterned. But how lovely would that look as in that? It doesn't matter if the pattern's going all in different directions. Very fine, but I think. And then you could use strips, you know, if you get borders like the gold on it, you could put that down, the zip placement either side. It's got loads of potential to play around with. But can you see how I'm going from really fine sheer fabrics right through to the heavier linen? I mean, you could do velvet, you could just do whatever you liked. So I've just got one last one, because literally I think most fabrics I've got, thank you, would work. But I kind of washed up this Tozin, one of Tozin's fabrics. So it's one of the African cottons. How cool would that look in this shirt design? You can play around them with the borders and the different patterns, and add the black. And it's got a nap. Oh, it goes the other way. That one, that border there at the end of the sleeve, and you could do the back panels in one of the fabrics, and the front in the more whatever. Anyway. Or you've got remnants. It just so happened I didn't have remnants. I had these fabrics, but you know what it's like. You've got so much and you think, whatever am I going to do with it? So you might as well cut into some of it. Thanks. I'll just check it out. Thank you. So you could piece things together. I mean, I used 3 on that one, but you could use as many as you like. Okay. Right, so can I see? Nearly missed my lockdown fix. Karen, are you alright with it? A pin?
Probably.
Sat on a pin.
Oh, hang on, it's gone into my skirt.
Oh no.
There it is.
Oh, you're not adjusted yet. You can't stay here longer till you've got pins in your feet and in your legs and everywhere. Maggie got that Indian yeah, Maggie's got loads of, so Maggie's on here and Tozin's on here. Maggie's got a ton of gorgeous Indian fabrics, and Tozin's got a gorgeous stash of cotton African fabrics. So I scroll about and get their details, because they do have a lovely selection. Okay, so what am I going to tell you now? So what I thought, so I'm not going through, this is just about highlights. This is going to be our Saturday morning sewing school, and every Saturday morning we get together for about an hour, and I just go through the highlights of what I've made during the week. So I think it'd be a bit boring if I just made this in front of you. So I'm assuming you can lift bits of this as tips and techniques, but those that are making it, I'm just kind of really zoning in on the difficult bits, or the bits that people have asked me questions on before. And it's all to do really with those pockets. And it's not, like I said earlier on, it's not that it's difficult as such, but it's just unusual. So I'm going to kind of break it down into a couple of steps, and then hopefully that works. So I'm going to go on to that, but let me first of all tell you what I did to create a button up, because that's so easy. Where is it? Ooh. Now on the pattern, you can see that that dotted line is to fold back, but there's a bit of a gap then before you reach the center front. And if you did that twice, because you've got a left and a right, then that gap provides a space for your zip to sit in, because these chunky metal zips are quite thick. So in other words, if you do what the pattern says, this kind of almost comes edge to edge, so that goes along there. But if you're going to do a button where it says center front, that means that's where the buttons sit. You can see I put on a pound or two over, well, that's all I'm going to admit to anyway, over Christmas. Okay, so that's the line where the buttons are is the center front. So you need to add to this so it folds back on itself and creates the facing. If you hadn't got enough fabric, if the fabric was only wide enough, then you can cut out a facing and machine it on. But it's so much smoother and easier and helps your buttonholes if you could just fold that back on itself. So what I did is, from that edge, I wanted to fold it back about 2¼ inches, because when it went onto the other side, I want it to be wide enough to cover my space where the buttons are going to be, and create a facing and enough to edge it. So where that actual line is, I just added 2.5, let's say 2.5 inches, and all you've got to do is just make sure it follows a mirror image of that line, because if it went in a straight line, when you fold it back, it won't be to the shape of your neckline. So what you'll do when you fold it back, you want it to go upwards, and that's how you will get so I'm just talking that through. I hope that makes enough sense. Actually, then I'll turn. Oh yeah, no, I did this one differently. Oh, I should show you this. Okay. Forget what I've got on underneath here.
You've got a little t-shirt there, I think.
That's
You're
good.
not gonna... I think you have.
Yeah, I have. So I did what I just said, but then I turned it back in and then top stitched it. So it creates a false placket. I hope that makes sense. Oh, right, give me the thumbs up, everybody. I like this one for that. Give me the thumbs up. It should be quite straightforward.
Let's check what everyone said.
Yeah, got a heart there. So I obviously wanted this one to look more shirt-like. So this one's been edge stitched. Thank you, everybody. So when I folded things up like the hem and the cuff, I've machined it in place because it's a shirt, and it feels crisper and sharper with that. With this one, I've had to look at that a little bit differently, because it's satin and it's polyester, and it's not going to be ever sharp. But I'll tell you a bit more about the hems and the top stitching in a minute. But this was a little bit more complicated, and again, I'm just mentioning it. They're not specific things I'm going to show you how to do, as we'd be here all day. But instead of just extending it and folding it back, I cut it as a separate piece. So it depends on how big, it depends on your button size as well. But just revolve everything around that center front. So if I want a button to sit in that space, so however far I've gone to add on, I needed to go back. But then you need to, I'm not even sure if I've, yeah, that's right, that's the one without the, right, you can see my markings, that's brilliant. So this is the one that's got the little pleats in it. Can you see how I worked that out? Because I was putting a contrasting fabric in that area, So I've gone back that far. I know I've had to cut that out, but I've had to add seam allowances back on it to be able to put it in. So that one's inserted, it's not added onto it. But you can, you know, it's just calculations, it's just maths on how to do that. And the cuff looks lovely with the split in it, and that isn't on the pattern. Okay, I'll tell you what I've interfaced it with in a sec. Okay, so that's really all about your placket. And I'm, like I said, I'm only talking it through because, again, the placket we did on the Westwood. I don't want to, because obviously people paid money to come on the Westwood, so I'm not going to demonstrate things that people have already paid for, I'm afraid. But that's still available if you wanted to do it, but there's a whole load of other stuff on there. So it's not about getting you to go on a workshop, it's just I don't want to influence it. Okay. What I do want to do is this draped pocket, because I haven't shown that before. Alright, so in comes the next one. So you can see,
Do you want it like that?
yeah, because we can see the pocket bit here. Right, so let me just get my bits together. Put this back up so you can compare the two. And the three. Okay. So you can tell it's much stiffer. Now, I'm interested to know how many of you that one understand what it is I'm talking about now, or the issue that we're going through, and is going to make this so they're really interested to know how it's done. Because I think some people this just isn't going to make sense to, because if you're not making it, it's quite a unique piece to the pattern. How come this thing keeps getting... Oh, this is off the book, off the Foxy book.
February though, it's always February, something in February.
Yeah, yeah. Oh. Okay. Now, what you need to realise is the back has to be made completely first. Now, what I did for this one is, because of the stripes, I thought it's going to look a bit odd with the and the embroidery on this is really thick as well. It's not going to be great to get a seam to get this matching down. Can't match everywhere because the way that it's being cut, and we want it cut that way because that's what's giving us these drapes on the side. So what I decided to do, I don't know issue, but I have pattern.
Can I quickly disturb you? I don't know if this makes sense. People putting...
I was just reading it on there.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Go on.
About the interfacing?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about now.
Sorry.
It's all right. Yeah, you have to, Jeanette. It's just taking it step by step. But so what I did, because it's stripy, I did the top of the back and the panels that come around to the front on the bias. So it broke up the stripe. So when it goes down to the bottom, I'm not trying to match them up. Has everybody got that? I think it should be pretty. Yeah, it's Sue was saying pattern matching the back of this would be a problem, and it's not that it can't be done, it's just it just isn't going to look fantastic because it all goes off grain, and that's the best bit about it, so we want to keep that feature. So I thought, rather than trying to make a, you know, not so good job out of a really bad job, make a feature out of it. So the top is being cut as a chevron, and then that means the sides which is this panel here, but it's one of those where it's a side panel for the front and for the back. In other words, there is no side seam, and that will come round on the, where is it? So that will come round as a chevron too, but then meet the straights of this. Can you pass me that on there, please?
Yep.
Thank you. So you're going to have a straight coming down, and then it will come to it at an angle. So it'll look deliberately shaped to the garment. Thank you. Now, the instructions do say this. You know, you guys, a lot of you will know. I'm one for ignoring the instructions completely, and most of the time I get away with it, and then every now and again you think, why didn't I read the instructions? So without saying, so I've done it 2 different ways because I've made 2 so far, but if I just tell you this, if anybody's writing any notes down, note 1, make up the back completely. And I've just told you those side panels go to the front as well, so they're kind of mid panels, but treat it like it's the back, because the second one I put them on the front first, and you get a really difficult situation when you can't try and come to do these pockets. So all you need to know is make that up as a complete back. So even though these main pieces here are the back, even those middle panels that have part of the front attached to them, get them onto there, because it fits the lower half perfectly. So you can just treat it as one big piece, or even though that comes round to the front. Everybody got me? Okay. Now, one tip to add, which has got nothing to do with the making up of it, is because the top has been cut on the bias, because I wanted to create a chevron for design reasons, not for construction reasons. When I come to construction, I've got a bit of a problem because the linen is likely to stretch and distort because it's on the bias. So going back to the interfacing, I've used in the garment fine sheer fusible. I mention it, it's my go-to one. It's a great weight for lots of things. If we were talking tailoring, we'd be on about something completely different. If we're talking couture, lots of other things. But for a general sewing, interfacing, have fine sheer fusible in your stash. That is a must-have. So I've gone to my fine sheer fusible, and I've cut that as if it's on the straight, and I've mounted my bias pieces onto it. So this is going to act as if I cut it out on the straight grain. It's not going to distort. It's going to sit exactly with square shoulders and great armholes when I put the sleeve in, but you've got a decorative, let's say, surface to it. So that could have been cut any way you like. It's been controlled from underneath. Anybody done Inside Secrets with me will know exactly what I'm talking about, but those who haven't, I hope that just chucks in something that gives you confidence to know what you're doing with it. I didn't interface, Jeanette, the one that I'm wearing, because I did the collar, I used all the methods, all the techniques that I use for making a shirt collar, but for the placket I just folded it in again in the same fabric. So hopefully that makes sense. Did I narrow the shoulders? I don't, ever so slightly. It really is a close fitting top to this, and somebody did ask me, and I said since Christmas for some reason it's got even closer all on its own. But it is very close fitting, so it's not the sort of thing that you could wear something loose and baggy underneath it unless you were wearing it open and it was kind of a you know, a kind of open cardigan type effect. So hopefully that answers like that. So Sheena likes the tip about the interfacing. Okay, fab. So what we have is a complete back. It's just a lot larger than what you would imagine, because it comes around to the front. This is be nice one day to have a nice big studio, or chairs on roller coasters, or whatever they are. Roller coasters. Okay, and add your pockets to it as well. So hopefully, I know I've kind of said things in between, but keep it really simple. Just join everything up on the back and add your pockets. That's all you need to know for now. Take your front and add your pockets. I've gone, as you know, with the option of the one without the pleats, but the only difference is, if you've got the pleats, you now go to your pattern and you pleat up your fabric. All this is 2 pleats. It's got nothing to do with the placement. So you could be confusing yourself if you're trying to incorporate the pleats in with how we position it. Once you've got this bit out of the way, positioning it is really easy. So don't get those pleats involved. So that would have been, pleat that up as if you were pleating a skirt, machine over the top of them, and forget they're even there. In this particular one, because I've chosen view, which one ever it is without the pleats, B, I haven't got to do that because they're not there. And then there will be a line to say fold. So let me just show you the 2 differences. That's the back. So there's a fold line, which is this line, which creates the drape that's going across it, and that's probably an important thing. So there's this pattern without the pleats. So there's the fold line, and it's where, if you're in doubt, it's only a seam allowance in from the corner. It's got to fold from there. It doesn't fold up higher or lower. That's the whole point, is so you can bring the pocket down. So there'll be a dot where you have to snip into, and it's obvious where that is because that's the only place you tug on to get this on the side. And the other end of it is really obvious as well, because it's got this inverted line, and it's right in the middle of that. So that's folds back from there to there, and give it a press. Then you're not trying to remember it or mark it or anything else. It's obvious where it is. And that's what I meant by the 2 pleats. So this is exactly the same pattern, but it looks 10 times more complicated just because it's got 2 little pleats in. But when you pleat that up, I know I'm repeating myself, but hopefully it helps to make more sense. When you pleat that up, that you've got that anyway. So it's like you've actually really only got 1 pattern, but it's got a bit more detail on one. Okay. Great. So, and there's my line. Hopefully you can see that where I've just pressed that plate. Okay, so I'm going to take this off. And now, like any top, don't forget I always say about the jigsaw thing again, don't get yourself too complicated with where it's taking you. It's like anything, you're joining up tops to bottoms. So I'm going to take my back, and remember that the edges now of this come round to the front to meet my front. Let's see which half I've got. Okay, so it's telling me that that bust curve goes in that curve, like so. So they're going to go together. So I'm going to go to the top and pin it. When I've done, I know you won't see all of this clearly, so I'm going to keep lifting it up so you do. Let's put it here so you can see on the table.
Better?
Yeah, thanks. So I'm putting this is what I'm doing now, this seam here, and I can only go so far because there's a little notch there. That's that little corner I just showed you where I said to snip in. But I'll lift it up once I've pinned it, and then I'm going to machine it. Is it possible to view this video from the beginning as I've just joined? Yes. So once it's finished, you can just go scroll down and it'll be there and start at the beginning.
Yeah, but it'll probably be there for about 30 days. It might be a bit longer, but it will be here for 30 days. It won't
be there forever. And Steph, the bust curve is like a deconstructed dart. Yeah. Are you talking about this? Does your white shirt have the pleats? Yes. So this is kind of a side dart, really, put into the seam. So that's the top, the front, so that's there. So it's just like the one that you can see underneath it. I'm just checking because I get the reverse of that in there, and then that goes under the arm round to the back, so you can see now that's going to be the same seam that I've got here somewhere, and then on the back I can only go so far, so I can't. Then we've got all this pocket, so I want you to view this almost as if it's an offset side seam, and we're going to do it in 3 steps. So step 1 is to join that bust seam together, and I can only go so far, so I'm going up to the seam on the back where the top part meets the lower skirt of the top, which also at the front is the notch bit that you get to. So it's just a short area that you're doing first of all. Can everybody tell me we're all okay together? Cheryl says yes, it's wire main posted for about 30 days.
Wire main.
Put the iron on. Now don't forget, this is only extra help for when you're making it, so as long as you've got the notes, hopefully when you come to do it, it will make more sense than it probably is now. Because when I'm saying so from specific areas like the seam, you can't, I appreciate you can't see that seam. So step 1, so we're working from the top, so this seam, step 1. Step 2 is the pocket, and step 3 is the hem, the lower bit. So if you think like that, that's the way I'm working through it. Machine that, and that's what I meant by the seam. So where is that again? So this is the back, and there was a seam where that whole top, the top of the back, was joined to the skirt of the back. So it's not a waist, let's call it a waist seam, but actually it isn't. It's quite a few inches higher than the waist. So what I've just done, joining it to the front section, is I stopped at that waist seam. You can't go on beyond that. Cheryl says, sorry, typo, so that might not be that.
I thought that sounded odd.
Yeah. Now I'm going to press the seam open, so bear with me. Little snip. Don't worry, I know you can't see, but I'll explain when I get there. Right. Okay, so there's that seam. I wish this was taller. So there's that seam. I could only go so far. I've pressed the seam open, but it is still, I know it's to the side, but it is still a bust seam. So because it's curved, you need to clip it. Now, a real big no-no is clipping that seam, getting hold of it and clipping it all the way along. You weaken it. Definitely the reason you're clipping it is to open that seam up, because it's curved and it's being machined and I want to press it back. It's the curvings wanting to come back, so we're clipping it so it sits back, but it isn't all the way along and it isn't right up into the stitch line. So I've just pressed it open without clipping it at all. But then unfortunately that's not enough. It is going to want to close back together. It's going to curl so they're like flat as I started off. So we need to compromise. So there's my seam. Hopefully you can see it. I've pressed it open, but this part of it where most of the curve is rolling back. So I just need to snip in there enough to get it to sit back. I'm making diagonal snips, not in with the grain, not straight across, and I'm doing it only in the areas that are rolling back, not all together all the way up. Tiny ones, and I'm doing one side and then I'm doing the other side in between those ones, so I'm not getting hold of this and snipping two together, so you end up with a curve that's got two big snips going, look, I've been snipped here, and you end up with not a smooth line. It's kind of quite a jaggedy curve to it, and also it weakens it, so I'm distributing the pull on it by doing my other row of snips in between the ones that I've done. So I'm only doing about 3, not like that. I often see like an inch apart, lots of, even take some fabric out of it. You never need to notch a seam if it's opening up. You only need to notch a seam if you're trying to curve it back on itself, and that's to create little darts and to eliminate it so it doesn't sit on top of each other. But to open it up, it's going to open up anyway, so you're just going to weaken it. So now I'm going to press that again, and I'm just doing it for speed's sake, but you could obviously do it over a ham. going on? Terry Fox. Okay, so now we're ready for the second part. So if we look in here, and I wouldn't even worry, consider this whole thing to be a side seam. Don't try and work out where the pockets are pointing, as long as you've obviously machined them in the right place to start with. I would forget now trying to think, where is the pocket meant to be going, that way or that way? Just grab the pockets, they go together, and I'll show you what I mean. So in other words, we've got this side hanging down, and we've got this side hanging down. I'm just going to put them together, right sides together, and I'm going to pin, starting where I left off just now. So we machined from that point upwards. So now, well, not, I didn't go in that direction, I'm just saying above there has been machined. So there's my little snip, so I could open up that corner. So I'm now going to pin there, go down around the pocket, and then go to the edge of that, as far as I can go really, but it's the edge of that, you know, that little bit that's got this bit. So I'm literally now machining here, along here, up around the pocket because it's been attached, back down and off this edge. Hopefully that makes sense.
Sorry, with the prize they wanted to direct message you, weren't they? So you've got all their addresses under that.
If they've sent them to, not
Yeah,
everybody.
if you don't message them to Terry, then yeah.
So get it flat, but like I say, don't worry what's above it and below it, just worry about this bit. Again, I'll hold it up to the screen. Something dark. Hopefully you can see that. So that's where I left off before. I'm coming along there, around the pocket, and then off there, and that's where that little piece goes that's got the fold. So that, remember I said that's the top edge to this bit here. I'm going to machine that now. Everybody with me? Or have you, I've got a thumbs up straight away. Jill's just joined. Good advice, I've been clipping a bit too much. as I say, this will make 10 times more sense when you're actually doing it. But if you, it's like anything, if you break it down into bite-size exercises, it's a lot easier. Where's my note? Can you right, so I've done that. Can you just circle that? I want to tell everybody about that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I need you here all the time.
I know, I was thinking if I wasn't in lockdown, I could have come out and been putting shirts on and everything, couldn't I?
Yeah.
Or help in the background.
When we get our live-in studio. Right, so I'm taking it slowly because the fabric is so thick and the cord that is decorating the embroidery is really thick. I'm just kind of walking the needle over it because if it hits it, I think it will break. Now you remember I pressed that line for that top edge of the pocket earlier on. That is crucial, and that will make everything now fit into place, which again I'm afraid I know is difficult, but you can remember.
Should we put that black up again?
No, it's alright, I can do it on here, look.
Alright.
Thanks. So you remember this bit, this fold. You now need to make sure that is folded back because it blends in. Okay, fold that down, and then ta-da, they all should match. So what's left matches. What's weird is it looks like it's not meant to go in there because again it's one of these seams that goes up and off in another direction, so we have to snip into that little area, the kink in it, so we can straighten it up and basically put edges together. So we're going to now be machining, so this is the third part of the steps with the fabric, with the fold, and that's where we start, and we're going down, and where it kinks in I need to clip into there so I can lay, you know, so because it goes off in the other direction, so I'm able to stitch a straight seam. So it's that kink, so that bit's folded back, then you come down and then there's a kink there. I need to snip into there so I can straighten up. So you're going to stitch it as if it's a straight line, but actually you can tell it's not, it's at an angle. But the only way you're going to straighten it up is if you clip into it. Oops, everybody's just started it, that's not cool. Let's get back to it. That's brilliant. I need some new scissors at the ends of these, aren't good. Fold line, because I think that was one of the, when I did the first one, it's great when you've done one because you know what you're aiming for, but once having done the first one, I think that was the complicated bit. Now anybody that's made this, you will know you need to do a tailor's tack. I'm going to show you in a minute, but just so you've got this in your head for what's coming next. There's a tailor's tack where this gets stitched like this somehow, then it ends up round the back and it's stitched here, but that's top stitching, and although it's in the same place, it's got nothing to do, we haven't looked at that yet, and I think on the instructions it looks as though we should have been doing that, it's part of this maneuver, and it isn't, it comes right at the end. So that edge stitching, that top stitching it in place to position it, finish it, is a fourth maneuver, and it's got nothing to do with what we've done so far. So even if you haven't got a clue what I'm talking about, when you come to do it, you'll hopefully have that ringing in your ears and you'll think, ah, that's what that means. I'm going to machine that. So from the fold line to the bottom, to the real bottom of the hem, and then you can go in and get hold of that fold, just fold that back, and let's get it sharp, because that becomes the top of your pocket. So you've got this weird looking thing going on, but I need to give that a press. So the line that I've just stitched, I'm going to press from the bottom half of the, from down the here downwards, I'm going to press open, and I'm going to press again along over my fold, but get it all nice and sharp. What's happened?
Oh,
Comment. In the white top made the same way as the linen one. Yeah, absolutely, except for it's got 2 pleats in it as well. Thank you, Sue. But Deborah, I have no idea what we're doing next week. On Thursdays I tell you what I'm doing next week, but at this very moment I don't know. I might do an easy one, like a skirt or something, because the week after I want to do a trouser suit, which will give me a bit of time to steal a bit of the week for that too. But I'll have to see how it pans out. Bear with me, give it a press. So it kind of looks like that's it from behind, and that's it from the front. And then earlier on, the positioning of it,
Sorry.
the positioning of it, I made a tailor's tack. I know I mentioned it earlier, and some of you who know me will know that I'm writing a whole thing around life's too short for a tailor's tack, but I say that tongue-in-cheek. Sometimes a tailor's tack is necessary, especially if it's within the garment. I often just use pins if I'm pinning up a dart and then I'm going straight to the machine, or pinning together certain parts, I don't know, But for this, I needed that there well in advance, and I needed it clear for where I'm going to put this. But it now means I'll probably be best to show you this on the mannequin. Because we only need that bottom half. You'll be able to see. So when I come to do this, you know, finish it off, I'll give it a much better press. I'm just trying to do it to get through it, really. But I think it gives, this pattern gives it a really lovely designer edge, and I think that makes it look special and expensive. So I don't know if you can see that from behind. That's your pocket in there, and we take the point of this and bring it round and position it on my tailor's tack, which is there. And then we just want to get this nice and smooth. Ideally, I'm doing it on here, but you want it on a flat surface. And I'm going to position that from there to there. Pin it in place, and then you edge stitch it to create not only the pocket, but it's a drape as well. Stick this fabric, and then edge stitch. That final line is edge stitch just there, and you've got your pocket and everything. Where is it? It's inside there. Can everybody see that okay? Because I'm gonna leave it at that, because I want to press it and kind of work on it and make sure it's perfect before I do that. But it kind of gives you this little boxed pleat as well. That's that little kinky bit that we did and then straightened up is what's creating this kind of boxed. And for some of you who did the Vivienne Westwood know how box pleats are kind of a thing of Vivienne Westwood as well. But I think as a jacket, that's going to look really quite smooth, and I much prefer it without the, it would have had the drapes on it if you'd have done this one. I don't think that, obviously that, I don't think that fabric for 1 minute would do the drapes. So those two things are exactly the same, only that one's got the added 2 extra tucks in there. Everybody happy? I've got a couple more things to tell you, but let me know that you're okay with that.
They're talking about being worried with the plate thing, with it just a collar on, but maybe we should mention that we are looking to maybe move it over to YouTube.
Yes. Oh, okay. I'll mention that.
Yeah.
I just want to give you a little tip first as well. Just one thing.
I'll remind you afterwards.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll finish off with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now on the back, lower half, and I'll find it. It's in a safe place, obviously. Right, to continue with this boxed idea, so it's kind of almost like a bell or a balloon shape, where the back is darted in to the hem. So that's the lower hem, and then it's got darts again, so you've got the fullness, but it nips it in. I love it because it gives it a Japanese feel. And you know, when I was saying about the recommended suggested fabrics, one in particular are those Japanese linens or Japanese cottons. Really nice crisp fabric. So Anne's saying, I wouldn't have considered making this. It's a real stun. I'm thinking what fabric I've got and then make it. Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's good news. Yeah, and that's the idea. So the whole idea of this 52 outfits is to really show patterns in a different light. Because you know what, we all seeing them at the moment where somebody makes something and you thought, God, I didn't even look at that. And then when you see it for real, it's fantastic. But when you see it on the patterns, sometimes it's, yeah, of course it's fantastic as well. But sometimes some of them you would just miss, especially if there's variations and the one that's on the main feature of the pattern isn't the variation that you would prefer. So yeah, that's the plan. I hope you're not going to like them all. Obviously, I'm making 52 garments for me. This is kind of my wardrobe, but I thought that was a great idea to share it with you because everybody seemed interested when we did the 26 dresses in the summer. So you get to see my makes, and you think, you know, you might think, oh, I'm glad I didn't make that, or I wish I could make that. So, you know, it goes both ways. But going back to this dart, the function of that dart is to shape the hemline. The hem doesn't know that it had to be exactly in that place. So there is no reason why you can't shift that dart along a scrap or the other way a little bit if it suits your fabric better. Now, I said to you about this being really difficult to sew. That, you probably can't see it, but that's a big cord on there that's creating that embroidery. I think for me, I look on there, it just looks like a print even. But that's a very decorative cord. It's also got a metal thread going through it, and it's already a thick fabric. So two reasons. Stitching a dart through there wouldn't be easy, so I probably wouldn't get a nice flat pointy nice smooth dart, and also it'd break up the pattern. So all I did was shift the darts along a bit to fall in between where there is no embroidery. There's good clear gaps to be able to stitch a nice simple dart, so why not use it? And I'll be honest, if on one side the dart is I saw somebody said they're trained in tailor's tacks. Tailor's tacks are for precision. Sometimes in the world of fashion, we're not looking for precision. Believe it or not, couture is all about making things work and not, you know, we've seen hand stitching on couture garments that you think, I wouldn't do that. I've seen Chanel suits where you lift up the pockets and there's a row of obvious hand stitching and people think that's terrible. It's not terrible, it's beautiful. It's serving the purpose that it's meant to do, and it's getting the best results rather than just doing something because you're supposed to. And I think if a dart on one side is in that stripe, but on the other side we have to shuffle it on a ½ an inch to fall in the right place, then it doesn't matter. I bet you nobody will ever mention it. And if you'd have kept them in the same place, so on one half it's stitched through this big cord and it isn't on the other half, just to be precise, somebody will mention that. And I think having been in the trade for so long, that's when you start to kind of chill out about things a bit more, because you know what is acceptable and what isn't. So I thought you might be interested in that. So now I'm just going to talk about the hem, because the hem it just says turn up ½ an inch and machine, I believe, if that's how it was. So on this one, having a crisp cotton was easy. So all I did basically was press under the hem, edge stitch it and top stitch it. So there's 2 rows of stitching, but you see that on shirts, so that's fine, that worked. On the satin, edge stitching and top stitching polyester satins cannot look great, especially if the seam allowance is being turned back on itself. So in other words, the grain is coming down then it turns up and it starts going off, and then you tuck in the edge and you start getting this twisting happening. That I wouldn't recommend it. So what I did with the satin is different to what I did with this cotton, and is different again to what I would do with the linen. So I'm just going to talk that through. So here's a pretend curved edge hem, and a bias strip of fabric, and obviously you have to test this and you decide what's good for you, what you like. But I felt when people talk to me about the width of edging and top stitching and the width of hems, it's irrelevant to what I think. It's what looks right on that particular combination of fabric. So I'm going to cut a bias strip of about 1 3/4 inches. I felt the 2 inches was just that bit. You know when you get hooked on something, all the rest could be out the window, but one little thing could be 1/8 of an inch out and it drives you insane. Where's my tape measure? If I can't find it, it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so I'm going to cut a bias strip of 1 3/4 inches. And I'm actually I'm not being precise because I'm not going to wear this. Obviously you're precise on the real thing. And then I'm going to fold it in half. Now, I've said this to some of you before, but in my training, once upon a time, I used to work for Zandra Rhodes, and I kind of picked this technique up from her, that all her chiffon dresses are bound with bias chiffon. That was the test we had to even be able to work there. So I'm cutting, this would have been in chiffon, but it's polyester satin. It's wider than what you really want it to be because you're going to attach it with a fold involved. So it's not one single strip, it's become double.
What's Arthur? Arthur! Oi! Stop it. Sorry. Okay.
Everybody knows Arthur, I think now.
It's got that pencil out because it's like after it's scratch.
So there's my strip. There's a folded edge, and then that means there's 2 raw edges. So I'm going to put all raw edges together, and I'm using this technique because this is bias, and now it's going to go around, because that hem has been kinked and the front has a curve on it. It's having to go around bends, around grains that are meeting each other that are different. So it's quite maneuverable. I can manipulate it quite well. So I'm going to put right sides together, raw edges together, and machine in. I'll explain the distances when I've done it. I'm just doing a little bit of it, just to give you an idea. So I've gone round a curve. Okay, so now with the seam allowances, I'm going to trim those down, and obviously what's left from the stitch line to the folded edge is going to be the hem. So you'd have to calculate how wide you want that, depending on your fabric. But I'm left with that being about 1/2 an inch. And on other things, finer things, I would want a much narrower hem, even less than 1/2 an inch, like 3/8 of an inch. But I found with the satin, it needed to be that little bit wider. So I'm just trimming that down and then clipping that little. And if it has got a curve to it, this time you do want to take little notches out of it, and that's because it's going back on itself, so those notches will then close up when they get to the other side. I've only done a couple, but so it's together. I'm going to press it, and then I'm going to take it to the back and then press the whole thing up, so it's going to be about that, the 1/2 an inch wide. So what I'm trying to say, this isn't the be all and end all of hems, it's just the best one I found for that design and that fabric choice.
Could I make this in Colville scuba? And
No.
do you think a zip front would be too heavy for scuba?
I'd do it in the scuba crepe, the one that they consider to be a bit. Well, that works. You asking me questions.
Yeah.
If it just need, some of the scubas are really thick and not drapey. They've got no drape in at all. So if you were, especially if you were doing it with the pleats, but I consider this to be a tunic with a draped front, and drape and scuba don't go together.
Okay, and then the next one is there fusible on the bias strip?
No. You keep away from attaching anything to do with bias strips, because bias is you're allowing it to have a mind of its own. The whole point about bias is because it's movable and you can manage it and create in and out and shapes with it. You start to put something else on the back of it, and you've taken that character, its personality, away from it, and it won't behave how you want it to be.
Would you do a bit of a stretch on the bias as sewing?
No, you have to do it by feel. If you're on the straight, you want to be 1-to-1. If you're going around a curve, you almost are easing it on, not stretching it on. If you were going around a corner, you might want to pull up on it. So that is it's kind of a complicated question, because I always do that by feel. But if I've just given you 3 areas of doing it differently, it's not a pull on it, because if you pull on it, you'll end up with it kind of looking like it's curling to the wrong side, unless you wanted it curling to the wrong side.
Would you do a triangle cut to give a smoother edge?
Yeah, when I was doing my seam, that's what I did. I cut out little notches, so that's what I call, what you're saying, a triangle cut. I think we're saying the same thing.
Are you zigzag or straight for the hem?
Straight, because this has got no stretch in it. Let me just tell you, let me just say this one bit, and then we'll go back to some more questions.
Yeah.
Is that all right? So what I did on this one was edge and top stitch, but what I wanted to do on this one, I didn't want to top stitch it because of the sinking into the satin. It's not meant to be sharp, not like a cotton. So I tested it before and did an edge stitch. Now the problem, because it's slippery, when I was edge stitching it, it kept as I got nearer to me when I'm machining it, it kept rolling underneath, and so my stitches were going towards the edge. Then I'd get it back again, and then it'd go, and it looked awful, so I unpicked it. So I'm going to edge stitch it, but it's about 1/8 of an inch in, not literally on the edge of it, because there'll be another time when I want it literally on the edge. And this is where we're now getting into the science of a edge stitch and a top stitch. There is that much to it, you know. It's not all as sometimes that you see, is it one or is it the other? There's a whole load of reasons, and that's why if you test you'll find it. So I'm going to edge stitch, but it is a little bit in. And I'm also, this is the absolute trick to this, is I'm doing it from the right side. Because we've just added something to the wrong side, we tend to think we've got to be looking at it. We're keeping an eye on it, so we're looking at it. But that's when it tends to, as you're stitching towards you, that it's going with the needle and the foot and starting to kink, and you have to pull yourself together again and do it again. When you've got it underneath, the foot is keeping it flat where you started, and you can just continue till you get to the end, basically. So I'll just do a little bit. And take it easy. But it's not twisting. If it's doing any twisting, it's underneath and it's kind of sorting itself out because it's being flattened down. I'll just do that little bit. So you end up with a little hem or a little stitch, because that came up the front as well, from where I finished my button placket to, you know, going right round the bottom and back up again. And then it looks like that. Obviously I'll give it a press, but it looks like that on the other side. Okay, with this one, there's no way I can turn this thickness of fabric up and edge stitch it. In fact, I did a bit to show you. Right, here we go. This is a perfect example. So what I would do with this is put a false hem on it. So I basically create myself a facing. I don't like... hi Hazel! The thing is about this fabric is so slippery, and a walking foot is... Sorry, Hazel's asked me would a walking foot help. But the thing is, a walking foot needs to be balanced to walk. And we're doing it on the edge. So on a slippery, shiny edge. So I think you'd end up... I mean, it's worth a go, but I think you'd end up with a problem with a walking foot for that particular bit that I've just done. Okay, so what I did just to try it is turn up the hem and top stitch it. I don't think edge stitching would have been enough for this, and kind of that's what the pattern tells you to do anyway. And my guess is you'd see a lot of these made up looking like that. Now I would opt for this. I'd take my fabric, and ideally if you could find a very similar fabric of a lighter without all the thickness on it would really help. So in other words, your false facing or false hem doesn't have to be exactly the same fabric, as long as it obviously works with it. This is quite unique, this fabric, and I'm thinking I'm not going to find anything. Wouldn't it be great if I just had exactly that colour in the plain linen to match? Then I would definitely use that. You're eliminating some bulk, but as it happens, I think I'll end up using the same fabric. So I would put this together, right sides together, and so I've made a pattern. That pattern won't be there. So this is a copy. So if if this is the hem, you need to draw off 2 inches if you want it narrow, 3 inches if you know, if you wanted to make a thing of it. But you need to draw off a pattern so that becomes a facing, because we're going to machine it onto the hem. So I've just cut a length, I'm not cutting it to any shape. So I'm machining it together. And then what I'm going to do is press that. So that is going on the hem, but I'm still going to press that open.
Want me to ask you a question while you're getting it or not?
Yep.
Where was our question? Somebody said about being new.
Being what?
They were new and they had a question.
Right, let me just do the next bit. So I've pressed it open, and I am going to edge stitch, but on the hem side I'm going to sharpen up it to what is really the wrong side, the underside of the hem, the under part of the garment, just like you do around a neck edge facing.
I lost it. Terry, I'm new to sewing despite being 66. How would you hem on a stretch fabric, please?
I'm only going to cover things related to the garments that we're working on, because one week I'm going to do a stretch Saturday morning sewing school, and we're just going to be repeating lots of things. So I kind of want to keep things specifically, so we've got more interesting stuff to come up as well relating to different subjects, because once I start talking about that, it's a whole nother issue. So, sorry about that, I just think we've always got to save something. Okay, right, so I've only done this lightly, but can you see now? So it's got a false hem on it, and then I would hand stitch that to this. And just to say, if you compare the two, look how round and smooth that looks, and rich, considering it's going to be more of a jacket style, to what you would maybe find in the shops, or what is recommended to the machined up. Hopefully you can see those two together. I think it probably, you can see that there. I know it's a hem, but I'm kind of showing you that way. Right, look at the roundness, the richness. And so this isn't wrong, but how I would compare the two is that, right, if you bought some handmade curtains, and they look like they've been interlined and they're lined and they look expensive and they look manipulated and thought about, hand finished, and then you buy those curtains that are all packaged up and you get them straight out of the packet and put them up to the window. Neither one is right or wrong, but one looks a different category than the other, and that's how I would explain that. So this one for me is the way to go, with the much thicker fabric. Hope that makes sense. Looks so much better with the false hem. Brilliant, that's amazing, much improved, fab finish, thank you. Would you zigzag the top? Yes. So you'd either what do you call it, overlock it, or zigzag it or overlock it, but then hand stitch it down. And we kind of got through everything. Have you got another question for me?
I don't think so.
Looks so much better with the false hem. What was that thing I'm saying?
Oh yeah, YouTube.
Oh yeah, so what we're
People
thinking.
are worrying about the video going. Yeah, go on.
Okay, so when we do our paid for courses, the Annika is going to download. Well, all of a sudden they're being taken off. They're being deleted from Facebook. So in the future, that we're not going to have that problem because we're moving all of what we do over to a new platform, and it's going to be our club. So, you know, those sort of issues aren't going to come about. But the ones that we've done already, all of a sudden are disappearing. But Annika is moving them over to another area, so we have them. So if they do disappear, we can put them back up again. So we've always got them. So anybody that's paid for a workshop, don't worry, we have them. These, we can't, you know, this is just Saturday morning sewing school, and it's on the move all the time. And in the future, I'm going to be doing even more midweek things and all sorts of stuff. We can't be downloading and doing all of that with those shorter things. So at the moment, we believe you've got 30 days. But what we're going to do with these specific ones, so 52 weeks, we're going to move them all over to YouTube. Is that right?
Yep.
And how do they know? We just let them know when we've done it.
Let them know when we've done it, yeah.
Do they have to need to know? Do they have a link, or do they just go there?
They can have a link that we give to them. They can, yeah, we can just follow the link.
Okay.
So we can give them all of that stuff.
So even I've said that they're going to go, they will be on YouTube, and then they're there forever then, aren't they, on YouTube? Well, we'll never say ever, forever, but...
Yeah, but they should be.
Thank you, Gillian. So, what time is it? Do you know, have you got the time?
We can even add to our website, aren't we? Going to do the gallery where they can... We can
Yeah.
probably put the link to the gallery of the YouTube video. So there will be ways to get to it in the future.
Yeah, we're always going to have this group on Facebook, because this is because you can get to us through the website, through Instagram, through the group, through my Facebook, but it all gets a bit too much. You can't just list all those things and just switch off with all that information.
Isn't always the best because it.
No, but our group is always our place to get back to, isn't it? But in the future, when we've got the club, everything will be clear, because we'll have a notice board on there. I've just made that up. Annika's face went, what? You haven't told me about this. But I'm picturing we could have a notice board. So if I've got anything to say, it goes on the notice board. I've got this vision that we can pin things on there, but I don't know. So everything's just getting better and better. But in the meantime, if you we're using the group to say what we have to say.
Yeah, can I also say, if you don't mind, would everybody mind sharing like what they learn here and like letting other people know about the group? Because we'd love to have some, like, you know, we're also going to have things for different levels of sewers, from the like incredibly advanced to the beginner.
So we're, that's a good point. So we're all at the moment, this last week, that's why it's been quiet since Christmas. We were really knuckling down and getting the club going, and there's new workshops going up, there's Zoom classes, there is crowdcasting, which is amazing, but it's Zoom really. It's better, and we've got all sorts going on. But I'm going to be doing workshops from regular Zoom classes, which are limited to 8 people for specific subjects, to master classes that are for people that really want to set up in business, and they're very going to be fast pace and couture gowns, full on. But we'll be doing that like not one-to-one, but small groups. I'm also going to be doing a beginners one of them, because we've put up a beginners workshop, but that is very basic, beginners reading the pattern, etc. But then I want to go from there to kind of a beginners make, where we make something together. But again, that's a Zoom class, and it's very small. We're going to be introducing those very soon. And the other thing I said earlier on, and Annika's going to post up for you, is the hashtag to post your makes. So rather than you posting them in the group and then next day they're kind of gone, we're going to give you a special hashtag that you post it up, and it's going to be in a gallery. So it's just going to be looking at everybody's makes.
Yeah, it'd be really nice.
Yeah,
that see everything everyone ever makes.
Yeah,
not miss anything.
It's kind of something that we've wanted to do from the beginning, but it's meant somebody's had to take these things and take them to a gallery so that nobody looks at anyway, whereas this is going to be special, that it'll be just going there every day, so every day you'll find something new on there that somebody's made, but also it doesn't tie up our group Facebook where I'm posting about what we're going to be doing and stuff like that. So you go there if you want to see the makes. All sounds great. Thank you for sharing so much with us. Thank you. So have we got any other questions? Let's bring this in now, so because we've finished on what I'm covering. Thursday night is when I let you know what the new outfit is, and Saturday is when we cover it. When are you going to have time to sleep? We don't need time to sleep. We just do it in our sleep, don't we?
Yeah.
On the beginner's class, can you include how to get a straight edge by pulling a thread? Absolutely. Kathleen, on the beginners, it's going to be all about pressing, seaming, the notches, my 3-point press, the equipment, kind of what people think that is basic, but it isn't basic. It's kind of what you get to a stage where you don't want to ask anymore because people think you should know, but actually you don't. And then we'll make something up. So the kind of inverted corners, easing in, all that kind of rethinking about how you sew. Thanks, Hazel. We've got 2 Hazels up. Oh, what am I doing? Hang on, over there.
Well done. You stayed calm.
Yeah. Like, what am I doing? Catherine, wonderful class. Thank you. That's been great. Debbie, thank you. What time do you start on a Saturday? 11 o'clock every week. So Thursday evenings, I do a quick, every Thursday you will get a 15-minute, it happened to be, didn't it? Well, it depends what I make, but I do a recording, so it's not a live, because because usually I'm finishing the garment off and it's going out that evening so I can give you the lowdown on the pattern and the fabric. So when it comes to Saturday, you've got time to have a little look around to see if you've got the pattern or some similar fabric if you wanted to get starting making something this weekend, but it gives you a day or 2 to have a look. We don't know exactly when the club will start, Elaine. We're going to start when it's ready. There's no, I don't want to put deadlines on it.
We'd like it to be as soon as possible, but
we
haven't done it before.
We planned it was going to be the end of this week, and there's no way it's going to be the end of this week. But we knew that as well. And Georgina loved the session. Mandy wants to do the beginners course. See, all this is great feedback for us. Helen, thanks for going through the hem technique. Used to do this years ago, but kind of forgot. You do, don't you? I do some things sometimes and I think, oh my gosh, I haven't done that for years, and yet it was perfect. Emmy Lou says, thank you, Terry and Annika.
Thank you, you're welcome.
Zena says, thanks for an interesting morning. Roberta says, no buying any. What fabric? Gabby, great session. Thank you. Jodie Lamb, thanks. And Josette saying thanks as usual. Thank you, sweetie. Marika says, brilliant. It's a lot easier, but be prepared to have to think about the first one. And the thing is, I don't know about you, but if you get to a point you're thinking, I don't get this, then there's a whole bunch of us out there that didn't get it either. So that makes it, it's doable then. So you just have to sit back a bit and then analyze it, and you'll work it out easy enough. silk chiffon panel cut and ready to sew it now. Great, Audrey and Deirdre, thank you. Jodie's off to buy the pattern. Ellie's going to watch it on replay. Thank you, Terry. So anybody also talking about the different things we're going to be doing. I'm going to be trying to separate each other. We want to see what kind of works for us, and obviously we want to go further afield. So I am going to be, I've got a different idea where this is a regular event every week. I've got an idea for a regular thing every week on Instagram, and not all of you are on Instagram. So my Instagram is Terry Fox Spirit of Couture. If you search Terry Fox Couture, it will come up. I was just going to say if you search Terry Fox, it won't, because there's another Terry Fox that's a worldwide famous runner. So that's what will come up first. So Terry Fox Spirit of Couture, and join us on Instagram, because you'll be notified about that new thing when it comes up on there, not on here. And as I said, the website's been updated, and some of you will see the post that I did where I'm adding a gallery of these dresses. So there'll come a point where you can see all 52 lined up with pattern and fabric underneath it. So if you're looking for this information in the future, you might have to scroll through stuff. It will be, there's the picture, like looking at a pattern envelope in Sew Today or something. And there's also going to be another page, very similar, but it's what I'm calling my Imaginarium, which is going to be the more creative stuff. Because I miss that. I kind of do this because I love it. I do couture, I love it, and then I like just making things like Elton and the brooch. Oh yeah, I forgot they were there. So, you know, doing these sort of things, or the corsets that I did, the decorative stuff, just for pure, because you can. I'm going to do that as well, so there will be a page on that, but it's all being worked on at the moment. Right, lovelies. Oh my gosh, Hazel Bradshaw, the fabric turned up. Thank you so much.
So what is it that's calling me?
That, you know that fabric that's on the side there?
Yeah.
That's the one we've showed you on the thing. Yeah,
Wow.
that's what Hazel sent me. And that, the tweedy one is the one I showed you. Yeah. It's lovely, Hazel. I'm chuffed to bits. Thank you so much indeed. Right, most helpful, and it's true. If you don't use it, you lose it. That is more than true. Sarah, some great tips, even for us old birds. Bless. And that's it. You see, every week, some of this will be. If anybody's done the workshops, I may have done this on the workshop. But the thing is, it comes at it from a different angle. Because on the workshop, I might have just done it as a sample. But on these, I'm doing it specifically for a type of fabric and a type of a style. So you kind of look at it differently, I think. And that's what I would like. So at the end of the year, we might do that again, or at some point during the year, but it might be on a different fabric. So where I said, you might go, oh, you said 1/8 of an inch last time, and this time it's 1/4 of an inch. But there's a reason for that, and once we know there's reasons for things, it helps us to be a bit more confident about making our own decisions and not thinking there's a right and a wrong way. Audrey, thank you. She had a great morning. Thank you, Chile. Julie's going to get the pattern. Thank you both, Learn Lots. Thank you. Interesting skills, even if you choose not to make the item. Yeah, that's because there will be an item you need those things. Deborah can't wait for next week. Oh my gosh, I better think what we're doing next week. I'm looking forward to doing the trouser suit, but it's a bit too much to get done by next week. But there will be the suit coming. Anne wasn't interested in the blouse, but now she's going to have a go. That's good.
It looks so different as different items as well. Like, I can't wait to see this jacket made up.
I know. See, I'll wear that with like black linen. What I'd like is trousers that's got the same little split as the... So they're a bit wide but short, and a little split like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
In black
like
linen.
Really nice summer.
Yeah.
Holiday outfit.
Holiday in the front room. I'm up for the beginning. That's Pamela. Wasn't going to... Oh yeah, I've read that. Joe. Love the session. Thank you, Leslie. Lovely to join you again, Hazel. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Hazel. And Josette. Yes, you remind me a lot of when we used to do it together years ago. But and Brain Needs a Kickstart. Right, Marie, thanks again. I don't know where that is, Marie, but I will be doing it again. And thank you both, working hard, coming up techie wise. Looking forward to all the new things coming up techie wise. Always something new to learn, no matter how long we've all been sewing.
That will be like if...
Oh no, Marie, you'll be on TikTok. You don't know how true that is. Annika's son's here, and he's mad into TikTok, and he's trying to teach me all these things. So it will be sooner than you think. Jackie, Instagram is brilliant, and it's visual. You haven't got to read through lots of stuff. When you're in the mood for just some inspiration, Instagram is the place to go. So everybody, if you could join on mine, that would be wonderful, please. How many have we got? Like, we don't know. We had 122 up just now.
Yeah, there was 146.
What's that?
When you were doing the classes, yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Might be more at some point. I don't know. That's what I see.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Steph. Lovely morning. Thanks, Debbie. Hazel. Oh, that fabric's awesome, Hazel. Got to do something special with that. I still haven't cut the red out. I'm going to send Hazel a bit of that red fur. Hazel, you'll like this. I'm going to tell her what you said. I've got lockdown hair at the moment, which some of you, actually it's hidden quite well, but I won't go into too... That's good that my head's off the top of the thing. But right in here, I've done a bit of cross weaving, but it's grey that much, and it looked a real bald patch. And Annika suggested I cut a bit of that red fur fabric out and stuck it in the middle, glued it on. Thanks, Annika. But it would have worked, actually. You're welcome, Anne. Oh, thanks, Elaine. Thanks, Beverly. I'm not Georgina. I'm not going to line it. Georgina's saying, am I going to line it? No, because I'm still going to wear it as a top. So even if it's jacket type, I don't intend to wear it open or over anything. It will just look more like a jacket. So I'm not going to line it. I'll just wear this, like this vesty thingy underneath as well. Thanks, Karen. Have a go at the pattern, so we'll get it out. Oh, good, you've got it. Heather. No, I will, Heather, at some point I'll definitely be making a garment with a plique on it. Oh, we're at the end. Erica, I didn't. I think I answered you on something, but I didn't answer yet about the masterclass. Because I'm going to put it up on the website next week, and it's evolving. I'm like, we both read it and said we want to go on it. I think you're going to like it. So Erica's the one that's interested in doing the wedding masterclass.
Oh yeah, I know. Oh, that looks amazing.
But I'm getting really excited about that.
Like wanting to jump on things. I can't even. I haven't even put sewing machines together.
Yeah, you'll be doing it. Talking of red fur, Hazel teased us last Sunday during the sale saying that you were making a fabulous coat with it. We need to see it. That's the red fur that I'm talking about, Leslie, but I haven't cut it out yet. I did promise Hazel I'd cut it out last week, but I haven't. I mean, we've just got stuck in this week and there hasn't been time to do anything else. But when I do it, or at least next week, I'll show you the fabric if I haven't started it, and that'll even be one of our makes. That'll be one of the things. I'm not going to promise, because that stresses me out when I start saying it will be this thing next week, because then all of a sudden it's an instant deadline, and sometimes I think, oh, do you know what I could do? And it's just so much quicker and easier, and I prefer it if I haven't mentioned it then, so you're not disappointed. Steph signed up on Instagram. Thank you. Really cleared up pocket issues. Oh, thanks, Karen. I was worried that I wasn't making it sound as complicated as it reads. I think the two together help. Yeah, Marie's going. We're going. But I had a fab morning, everybody. What time is it, did we say? God, it's 1 o'clock already.
Oh my gosh. Time flies.
Okay, so they're not always going to be 2 hours. If I might do a simple thing next week, so that might only be an hour. But we'll just go with it. If you're happy, we'll just go with how it all works out. I think it's nice. Having got another lockdown, it's just great for us to get together, I think. Okay. Right, everyone, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to see you back. So I will be on with the next item, whatever it may be, on Thursday. And I'll see you live Saturday.
Bye.
Hang on. Good detail. No, because Elton on which it is great. Many thanks for all details of Elton on it. I'm not sure. Because I mentioned Elton, didn't I? And that's Elton. Elton in his glad rags. But that's my handbag adornment. Like, you know, we haven't got nothing else to do. Okay. Anyway, bye, sweeties. See you soon. Bye. So am I doing that?